All right, y'all. So story time on when I almost this man to death because he had the right one. So I was living in Alabama at the time. This is in 2022. I had just got my license. Before I even moved, I got my license. That was February 22nd, 2022. So my sister and her husband came to get me. Yes, they drove 14 hours to come pick me up to drive back another 14 hours. Because I didn't get in my car until I was already in Alabama. So, yeah. Now, basically, when I lived in Alabama, I was there for the first 4 days and I found me a job. Because one thing about me, I'm going to get some money. I don't got time. So the first job I could find was a CNA and, certified nurse assistant. And so because I lived in New York before that, I was already at HHA and then a CNA. So I already had prior experience and I'm like, fuck it, might as well just do that now. So I got that job or whatever. I did the interview, got the job because... And then after that, about 2 weeks later after that, I found me an apartment. So within the first 3 weeks of living in Alabama, I found me a job and then an apartment. So after that, now I'm looking into my apartment. I'm going to my job. Now, from where I was staying at with my sister, it was only about 30 minutes maybe to get to my job from her. But the apartment that I found, because mind you, I found it after I found my job, it was about an hour to get to my job. Now, it was only an hour, not because of traffic, because everybody know there's no real traffic in Alabama, but because the roads are so long and it's nothing but road in Alabama, it took me about an hour to get to work from my apartment. Now, we're going to go back to the apartment. The apartment itself was fully furnished. Can we talk about it? Washer and dryer, couch, bed, TV, refrigerator. Like, literally, the only thing I had to buy was, like, and they have central air because it's a complex apartment. But the only thing I had to buy was, like, towels and, like, sheets and stuff for the bed and, little decorations and stuff for my house. And I made a house a home. I mean, an apartment a home. Yeah, I'm going to do that. But, yeah, that. Also, I bought some... cleaning supplies, stuff for the bathroom to make it look cute. Stuff like that, decorations and stuff like that, pots, pans, utensils, things like that. But the, appliances and things of that nature was already in the house. The only thing I think I bought to that apartment was an air fryer. Everything else, it was even a dishwasher. It was a built-in dishwasher. That place was... Now, it was $500 a month. $500 a month, fully furnished apartment. So it was a complex apartment. So that means that you needed a remote to get in because it was gated. Yeah, so like not anybody could go in. You had to have either a code or a remote. Okay, so and also it had a pool. A pool in the back so the community can go into the pool. I loved that place. It was so nice. Remember, $500 a month. Fully furnished. So yeah, I would have to get to work by 7 a.m. each day. So I worked from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. But being that I lived where I lived, I had to leave my house by 5 a.m. Now, leaving at 5 a.m., being that I was a black woman and I was by myself, there was no sun up. The sun was still down at that time. It was still dark outside. So, being that it was still dark outside, I would have to stay on my Q's and P's because I'm living by myself, there's a whole bunch of people there. You see it? Mind you, Alabama's a red state. If you know, you know. They don't hide their racism at all. They don't give a fuck. And I put this on everything. I probably was maybe one of 3 other people that lived in that complex. And we were spread out. None of us were in the same area. Anywho, fast forward. Now we get to the point where I am going to work one day. Now a week has passed, right? So I'm going to work. I make my breakfast in the house because I already have to leave at 5 in the morning. If I stop somewhere, I don't want to, it's just a lot. So I make my breakfast in the house. I make my tea. I put in my little, canteen, and I wrap my breakfast in the aluminum foil, go to my car. Now, every morning I start my car. I go in my car, start it, and I lock my doors. This specific morning, I go to my car as always. Now, before I even say that, we had parking. We had I call them something that we had assigned parking spots. So because it was a complex, you did have an assigned parking spot. You can either park in your assigned parking spot or right next to it if someone's not there, but you had to park where you were supposed to park. So that morning, because I am who I am, before I even got the apartment and they told me about the parking spots, I said, please put my parking spot right outside of my apartment. Because I'm not walking all the way nowhere. I live by myself. Put my parking spot right out. So as soon as I come out my apartment, I walk across the grass and boom, my car. That's it. So I come out, I walk across the grass, I go to my car, and I see a man standing outside. Now, mind you, it's a complex, so you can see everybody's apartment. You can see all the front doors to everybody's apartment. You just can't see people's backyard. You know how a complex is. So, being that I am not from Alabama, it was probably me and two other people that would leave that early because, everybody else is like a native, so they most likely work within the area. So me and two other people would leave every morning. I seen that guy come out his apartment, and he stood right there. Like, he just stood outside his apartment with his hat on, just looking around. So me being me, like I said, I'm from New York. What you doing? So I looked at him, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I went in my car, locked my door, and let my car heat up because I don't like that. So now in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm already on it. Because why you just standing out there? You ain't going to no car or nothing. You just standing. It's 5 in the morning. Okay. So I get in my car. I go to work. Like I said, I work from 7 to 3:30. So I was a CNA. It's very, very busy. If you know what a CNA is, you know this is a certified nurse assistant, like I said. So you're basically aiding people, and I worked at a rehabilitation center. So I'm aiding people back to like their health. Like I have to bathe them, clothe them, feed them, walk with them, talk to them, read with them, everything. You know what I'm saying? Because it goes from verbal to nonverbal adults, and sometimes it was just adults that just couldn't, maneuver by themselves. So I had to do a lot of work at work. But because I was living by myself and I was paying my own bills, I, did my job, and I worked Monday through Saturday, every week, Monday through Saturday. I did choose to work on Saturdays too, just so I can have, the money. Like, I didn't want to live check to check. I wanted to live comfortably, and being that Alabama is the state that it is a very unfortunate state, so they do not pay you, enough to really live off of. You know what I mean? So it's like I had to work the way that I worked in order to support myself. So boom, we skip and we come back. I come back home that night. Well, that evening. Mind you, I get home by 5 because it takes me an hour and a half to get back home. So I get home at 5 and I get in my apartment, and like I said, I live by myself. So first thing I'm doing is stripping. Like, if I'm by myself, I'm not wearing no clothes, because what is clothes? Why are we doing this? Take this shit off. Now, in my head, because like I said, I'm from New York, so I'm putting on my music and I'm blasting my shit. It's 5 in the afternoon. 5 in the evening. So I'm not thinking like anybody's sleeping or anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not blasting it to a point where somebody got to knock on my door, but it's on. So I'm minding my business, dancing, about to get in the shower, and all I hear is boom, 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 boom. I'm like, wait, hold up. So I live in an area where they have peepholes, because I'm not opening that door. I watch too many movies. So I'm looking through the peephole. I'm like, it's that same guy from that morning. Oh, hell no.